Hello people of YouTube, my name is Yusuf and I'm here to talk to you about drugs. Specifically drugs with a therapeutic effect, or in other words, medicine that are supposed to heal your diseases and kind of make you feel somewhat less lousy when we get one of those pesky illnesses. So throughout this series of videos, I'll be limiting myself to these types of drugs. This means I won't be talking about drugs like meth, cocaine, heroin, marijuana, abuse potential drugs, and drugs of addictive nature. Well, I may talk about those. Now, what is the purpose of making these videos? Well, drugs are such an important part of our lives. They're such an integral part of the healthcare system. Every time we're sick, we take drugs. The doctors write us prescription for drugs. You take the capsule, you pop the pill, you drink the syrup, and all of these drugs, they go into our bodies. Yet most people do not understand or do not know how these things actually work. And that will be my purpose, to educate, at least at a basic level, the science, the mechanism behind the drugs and how they work. For example, you take a pill, and what happens once it goes inside? It breaks up, and what happens with the actual chemical, with the compound, where it goes in the body, how it actually makes you better. That will be the purpose of these videos. The problem still stands. Where to begin? There's just so many drugs that it's kind of difficult to pick one and just go from there. So I thought it may be a good idea to start off with a little bit of history. This is just to highlight the fact that we've been using substances to treat our diseases for ages. We've been using it forever, since prehistory actually. Speaking of prehistory, let's start off with a bit of that. I'm going to start about 50,000 years ago with not the humans but the Neanderthals. Now, recent dental analysis of their skulls have revealed that the Neanderthals used to seek out and consume certain herbs like chamomile and like yarrow. Now, these herbs are not very nutritious, nor are they great tasting. So why would the Neanderthals use them? Well, what these herbs have in common is that they have certain medicinal properties. This means that the Neanderthals understood that if they fall sick or they get wounded, there are things in nature they can use to at least reduce their suffering. And this idea, this key concept of using substances mostly from nature to treat a disease or reduce the suffering caused by a disease, this idea has endured in human societies throughout the ages and across all cultures. Which brings us out of our little tour into prehistoric medicine and into history. Now, guys, I'm not great with history, so bear with me on this one. I'm just going to highlight some of the civilizations and names I find to be interesting, especially when we're talking about the very early days of medicine. So, just briefly, Babylonia, specifically 2600 BCE Babylonia, where the priests were also doctors and pharmacists. Ancient Babylonia gives us the earliest records of drug preparations. We have clay tablets from this civilization which sets out symptoms of illnesses and the directions for preparing medicine specific for those symptoms. In short, say you have a headache. The tablets tell you that for headaches you have to use these ingredients to create a medicine that will cure the headache. That's pretty cool, right? Is it normal that I find that cool? Moving on to ancient Egypt, we can find extensive records of medical preparations going as far back as 2000 BCE. The most amazing of these records is called the Ebers Papyrus, or Papyrus Ebers. It differs depending on where you look. Anyway, that's not very important. Ebers Papyrus, which dates back to about 1552 BCE. Now, this document is about 20 meters long and 30 centimeters wide and contains information regarding 700 or so substances and their medicinal uses. Around a similar time period, about 2700 BCE, the Chinese Emperor Shen Nong investigated several hundred herbs and described their properties. Now, this guy was awesome. He was not afraid to test all of them on himself. In fact, that's what he's shown doing in this image. No wonder he's regarded as the father of Chinese medicine. Moving south from China into India, my birthplace. This is several centuries after Shen Nong's time, around 600 BCE, when it is thought the Sushruta Samhita was written by a man called Sushruta. This is a behemoth of a medicine text containing description of over 1100 illnesses and information on how to perform surgery. It also describes 700 medicinal plants, 64 medicines prepared from minerals, and 57 medicines prepared from animal sources. As we go to ancient Greece, Hippocrates, often regarded as the father of medicine, and after him Theophrastus, the father of botany, both talked about plants that have therapeutic benefits. Theophrastus in particular made weirdly accurate observations of the medical properties of plants. Jumping forward to Galen's times, his work was so highly regarded that his principles of preparing and compounding medicines endured in the Western world for 1,500 years. Also lasting for about the same amount of time was the authority of De Materia Medica, written by Pedanius Dioscorides. This guy, in my opinion, is about as awesome as Sushruta and Shen Nong, because De Materia Medica is a 5-volume book describing the uses of over 1,000 plants and minerals, all of which he personally researched. Holy sh! All of this brings us to more modern times and more familiar discoveries, from the isolation of morphine and aspirin to the synthesis of atropine, from the isolation of histamine and amino acids, the first preparation of insulin, the discovery of acetylcholine, to the antibiotics penicillin and sulfonamides. All of these and many, many more all form the basis of modern medicine. And that's it for my first video, guys. Hopefully you liked it and found it informative. I certainly found it an interesting experience for my first time making a YouTube video. If you did like it, please like and subscribe. And if you have any suggestions, any drugs that you would like me to talk about, explain how the drug works, please leave the drug in the comments section. And if I'm able to, I'll definitely give it a try and explain how that works, make a video on it. And that's it, guys. Like, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.